I honestly think it's so interesting. Everyone has their own definition of self-love and what it means to them and how they're applying it. And it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What's the moves? Because is self-love taking yourself out? Is self-love buying yourself flowers? Is self-love journaling every day? Like, what really is it? I'll tell you an example of what I felt like was self-love was me taking myself to a concert. I had fun. And I went by myself and I knew that it was going to be a good time. Regardless of whether I had someone to go with or not, I was like, I'm going to do this for me because I'm a fan, I'm a stan, and I respect who I am. But self-love is so different for everyone. And I feel like we gotta sort it out. Like, we gotta talk about it. Because I was just watching I think her name is Breenie Lee. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe her first name is Breenie, and she is a YouTuber from the UK, I believe. But I was watching her video about self-love, and it touched on some very important topics, and a few of them being the fact that we are in a self-love crisis. We're in a loneliness crisis where, like, we don't know how to be alone to the point where we are finding so many other things to indulge in to partly avoid being alone and learning how to truly love ourselves without having a companion, and also like feeling bad for being alone. And like, those two are not, I feel like they're not good for us. Like, we deserve to understand what solitude feels like and embrace it, even when it's so quiet. You're like, oh my God, I need some noise. I'm gonna tell you something. Being alone or by yourself, it doesn't always have to be the worst thing. And being someone who grew up constantly surrounded by family, like literally down the street, there was always people, so I never focused on like what it meant to be alone. I was like, I'm alone when I go to the bathroom, or I'm alone when I go to work. But always having somebody in your face or around you or saying like, hey, what are you doing? Let's hang out. That didn't teach me anything but to like constantly find ways to avoid just being by myself. And I still struggle with that, because when you're by yourself, you're subject to your thoughts and like literally just you. And there's a study. I was listening to a podcast like months ago, and there was a study done where I think it was 15 men, 15 women. They were asked to sit alone in silence with their thoughts for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, or receive a quick electric shock. And the majority, I think it was like 60% of men chose the electric shock. A lot of the women, sat alone with their thoughts, but 60% of the men that did it chose the electric shock. And I was just like, wow, like, you would not expect for such a short period of time to be able to sit with your thoughts. The fact that so many people don't want to do that. And I understand, like, it's, probably boring, but our mind is literally like our most precious real estate. So if your mind's got you wanting to not be in it, like, it's something you can't escape until like we leave this planet. That's something we can't escape. We have to live with ourselves. And that's something that I have like been taught since birth. It's like, no matter what, no matter who comes in and out of your life, you're with yourself. You're protected because you have you, and you have to make sure that you protect you, because that's literally all that you have. You wake up by yourself, you brush your teeth by yourself, for yourself. Like, we have to be preserving ourselves, not protecting ourselves to the point where we're like, no, I am running from love, but like to the point where like we understand what it is we're looking for, what it is we're seeking, rather than just like, I'm kind of alone, let me just like, I could hit them up. What are they doing? Hey, what's up? Like, it's so easy to send that text. It's so easy to go on an app. It's so easy to go out and get drinks all night long and see who you go home with. But is that really fixing anything? In that video that I just watched from Breenie, she talked about like temporary love, like faux love. and how she lives in her apartment by herself, and sometimes it gets really lonely. But realizing that like having a temporary company is not better than learning how to sit with herself and enjoying that company until she feels like she has the right person in that space. That meant more to her, and like I can resonate with that, you know what I'm saying? Because like all of these temporary fills and fixes, whatever you want to call it, energy suckers, whatever you want to call it, like they can take away from you actually sitting with yourself and figuring out what you want and like going for it unapologetically and attracting what you want. It's very easy to indulge and to give in. It's very hard to not ward off. It's very hard to challenge and defend. That's what I'll say. And self-love, in the video she was talking about how self-love has become such like a movement. And I was just like, wow, this is beautifully said. Beautifully said. I'm gonna put the video in the description so you can go watch it, because it was very, very educational, but and it's also her perspective, so like take it with a grain of salt. But to see that for some people in the stage of life that they're in, self-love is a defense mechanism of getting every single thing you want. But like that's also not reality. You know, if in a perfect world, self-love for me would be massages every couple days and, you know, like just everything. But I don't want to be so indulgent. I don't want to be so indulgent. And that's just me. Like I do want to indulge, but I want to be grateful for when I do indulge. Not indulge to the point where I might be like, okay, I've had like 7 massages, you know, within the past month. I feel like I'm good. Like I'm not stressed out anymore. You know, like maybe I wasn't even that stressed out to begin with. But I feel like when it comes to self-love, it's really about embracing everything, every part of you, embracing your essence. That's literally my whole brand, I would say, is embracing what you bring to the table. And not just the good things, the bad things. Like, let's say you're clumsy. Okay, clumsy? That's just adding to your character. That means you always fall into some good stuff. You know, being clumsy isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes you can end up in the right space. Like you can be lucky. Clumsy could be lucky on one side, because you can end up in the right place at the right time. You never know, because you accidentally typed in the wrong address, but you got to where you needed to get to. You know what I mean? You could see it like that. There's always going to be things that we may not favor so much about ourselves or really love about ourselves. And we can spend our whole life just fighting the things we don't like and looking for the things we do like in other people. But like everyone we resonate with is a potential reflection or mirror of ourselves. So if you don't like these parts of you, how are you going to start to like, you know, possibly those same parts in someone else? And if you are not loving, you know, all the parts of you, it's going to show. It's going to show whether you think or not. We're all projecting certain images of ourselves, like, and if you listen, people tell on themselves. That's another like proverb that I really like. Whether it's a proverb or not, I feel like it's a proverb. But like if you let someone talk, they can tell on themselves. You can pick up more information than you need. And that's not to say like, you know, you always have to be like analyzing and listening, but like everyone is constantly feeding information, from body language to eye contact to how you talk, like things like that. Those little cues, we're constantly feeding information. Even in this video, I don't know what you're picking up. I don't know. But we're constantly feeding information about ourselves, whether it's how much we love ourselves, how much we don't love ourselves. But I can say that as long as you're happy with who you are at the end of the day, and happy is a pretty vague word, but like I want you to go to bed with like a smile on your face, a genuine smile on your face. I want you to be proud of what you create. Be proud of what you accomplish. Be proud of the failures and the mistakes, because without those, how did you learn to do better? You know, there's plenty of opportunities and things that you could have been like, oh man, like I wish I did that. Maybe that wasn't for you. Maybe there's a reason why that didn't happen. Maybe you'll never know. But just know that you're always going to be stepping into greater. You're always going to be learning, and that's what life's about. Learning how to embrace your culture. Learning how to embrace, you know, the fact that maybe you are loud. Maybe you're just naturally loud. And some people might be like, no, but like, you're loud, babe, and it's okay. Like, it's okay, because guess what? People have to scream to get to your volume. You already got it like that, you know? Embrace that, because somebody is grateful for the parts of you that you don't like. Somebody is out there wishing that they could embody the characteristics and the traits that you got, the ones that you probably judge yourself for. Somebody's sitting and looking at you like, wow, this person is yada, yada, yada. Like, wow, I love how this somebody is your biggest cheerleader. But it really all starts with how you feel about it. In that video as well, Brittany talks about how you can't really accept compliments until you feel them for yourself. And that's so true. That's so true. You know, everyone can say this, that, and the third about your work, but until you feel that about your work, they're just going to be like going in one ear and out the other. It's all surface level until you allow it to hit deep. And like, that's what we want. We want to understand and appreciate all that we have, because it's literally all we've got. And I feel like recognizing what you have is the only way to grow. Being grateful for what you have, the skin you're in, the body that you have, is the only way to grow. Because no matter what, we could change all of this, but we can't change our mind, our soul, our values. There's things about us that we can't really alter. And we just gotta learn how to like live with until we're not here anymore. So I encourage you to sit with yourself and just see how it feels. I feel like that's self-love. The things that you're constantly doing, maybe think about like the why. I think that's like a question that people don't ask enough, is why. Oh, you're texting that person, why? Why? And your answer will be, because, you know, da 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 da. Because this person brings joy into my life. Or it might ask you why, and you might be like, I guess I feel kind of lonely, and like they'll pick, or like they'll give me the advice I want. They'll sugarcoat, you know, like, I don't know, but your reason is your reason. And as long as you're comfortable with your reason why, that's really what it is. Being conscious of your choices. I feel like that's a step towards self-love, is to embrace all that you do and all that you are. It's gonna take some time, I'm not gonna lie. Cause girl, who gonna tell me? I'm out here trying to tell you, I'm trying to tell me too, because it is definitely not the easiest, but I feel like day by day it gets better. And I don't know. And that's the best part. I don't know. But this is not your final form. You have yet to see who you are really going to become. But look at yourself today. You've accomplished so much. You're so beautiful inside and out, and I really want you to see that. But I could talk all day, y'all know. So I'm gonna let y'all go. And until the next entry.